What it do, YouTube? So I reached out to Justin from FixMyPEV. He replied in an email asking me to show him in a video what I'm experiencing, and he does suspect that it's possibly a capacitor because it will only turn on after I briefly bump start it with the charger. Here. Having said that, this OneWheel is equipped with a remote start key fob. That means the button never worked on this board, only the key fob, which is great because instead of bending over to turn on your board, you just click the button on your keychain and you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hook it up to the charger. We're going to have to probably do a jump cut because it takes maybe 5 minutes. In order for me to hear, and I'll just go ahead and set my microphone on it. When I hear an audible click, then I know I can unplug it and it'll boot up. Then I set a timer for 18 minutes because the OneWheel shuts off at what, 19 or 20 minutes. So as long as I make sure to engage it every 18 minutes during a ride, then I'm fine. And there are the instances where it's fine the whole day until I charge it the next time, which is so strange. What I mean by that is if I let it set and it does time off, I can hit the button and it might turn back on, and it might do that for a day or two on the same charge. This does have a CBXR battery in it. That shouldn't have anything to do with this situation though. So I heard the click. Did you hear the click? So now when I go to unplug it, and it's on. Now also unrelated is that this headlight, it flickers, and I tell everybody, oh, it's just party mode. And then if I ride it the other way, the tail light is perfectly fine for a headlight, or a tail light doesn't flicker at all. Just the headlight, and this guy flickers. Whatever, it is what it is. I mean, I've got, the reason I have so many OneWheels is because of situations like this. But let's be honest, if we couldn't modify our OneWheels and there was no bang bumpers, no fangs, no flight fins, none of this stuff, let's be honest, you'd only need one wheel. But because you want a trail setup, you need a street setup, you want to try cush wide, cush low versus the platypus, which this board is front and rear platypus. It's a little wide for me, but I still enjoy it. I get more foot fatigue, but my friends with bigger feet, I'm a 9.5, 10. People with 12, they love the platypus. So that's kind of why I also have multiple boards, is so people that I'm introducing it to, I have a board for them. That's why I just acquired this Pine X that, however, has the orange ring of death. I bought it with 17 miles on it. I put 13 miles on it, and now it won't engage. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I've looked into that as well, and apparently if you got a Pine X, you need to get in there and grind that little corner on the battery box in order to prevent any crimping. I haven't done any drops or anything crazy with it because it's stock, and it came with all these aftermarket parts to go ahead and throw on. I guess I can bring it over here. And like I said, I rode it for 13 miles. It was great, and now it says, I need my safe space, or personal space, or whatever, and it is what it is. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. The reason for this video is exclusively to show you that it's cool to have an anti-theft wireless key fob. It should come on all $3,200 OneWheels, let's be honest. Because if one of these walks off, that's one thing. If two of them walk off, which is what essentially happens when you buy a $3,200 OneWheel, I bought one for a buddy used, it got stolen. And it's so sad that they're monitored for quality assurance purposes. They have these all tracked, and yet if one is stolen, they can't recover it. That's no different than the NSA knowing everything that we exchange between us, and yet they can't stop a serial killer. Whatever, I digress. Let's just try to tackle one issue at a time in these videos, shall we? But I love this key fob. This is so cool. So hopefully Justin from FixMyPEV now has a sense of what's going on. It only will turn on when you do a bump start, but I can't get rid of it. It's one of my favorite boards because of that, but I can't rely on it either, so it's not my daily. The flight fins, I transferred over to this. It's my new daily, but for some reason, it's not a wintertime board. This is a summertime board because it'll start Captain Morganing on me and saying that the battery is out of temperature range. Whether it's too hot or too cold, it doesn't say, but obviously because it's colder temperatures outside, this bare rail is probably bringing in a lot of cold air, so it is what it is. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Maybe it'd stop if I just sprayed, I don't know, bed liner, or if I ceramic coated them. Or actually, maybe you need a wintertime board. You might as well powder coat those like they did the GT rails from the factory to insulate it properly for winter use. But then in the summertime, you'd want them ceramic coated so that they can actually let the heat out properly. It's going to be fascinating to watch this transition over the next 10 years, as my best friend says. In fact, he said something to me earlier today that I think everyone would appreciate if they had heard something like this. He says, whenever I'm doing something, I envision you rolling up on a OneWheel and saying, that's not how I do it. And then I would do it this way. In his head, I'm like, that's so fat, like a what would Jesus do moment. And I'm not Jesus. Don't get it twisted. Like, I obey him. I aim not him. But when people come up to you and say, I envision you telling me how to do things differently, that's one of the greatest compliments a person could ever receive. I'm not in his head, but yet I'm in his head. Like, and we all become ambassadors on this sport. So hopefully we can keep this thing going. God bless you guys. Take care. Keep looking up, because I guarantee if he's got a plan for me, then he's got to have a plan for you. And I know these were his plan for me. He just let every one of you know about it before me. See you next year.